All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Dota 2 Academy by Mrfox. Today we're going to be doing Basic Mechanics 102. If you haven't seen Basic Mechanics 101, I highly suggest you go to them because it leads up to this. Today we're going to talk about experience and gold, creeps and equilibrium, space and map control, and last thing is timings, runes, stacks, pulls, anything that really has a time attached to it. So first thing first, I'm going to go into a bright white Excel sheet next. So dim your phone brightness, whatever it may be, if you're not expecting it. Just a heads up, we're going into it now. Here we are. So you need levels to get your skills, and you need gold to get your items. So here's a very complicated spreadsheet that kind of shows you all this. I'm going to make it available, whether it be a a download, whether it be a picture or an Excel that's interactable. But there's some things that I kind of want to go over. So your hero level, you need experience, and you gradually need more and more, right? So you need 400, 520, 600, 680, and it continuously goes up and up and up and up and up until you need a absolute crap ton of 7,500, which is as much as your total just to get to 11, right? So the way that you get experience is by killing things, okay? So that's why we have this over here, okay? So I'll just explain it real quick. So this is the possible experience that somebody could have. They could be between 0 and 239. Now, if you kill them, the possible XP bonus is between 100 and 131.07. And Dota's interesting in the fact that it pretty much always rounds down. So even if it's at 67, majority of the time it's going to be rounding down to 250 if it does end up rounding. This is the possible GP or gold bounty. Okay. Let's just expand this just a tiny bit so we can read these. And that's based off of just getting a kill. So if I kill a level 1 hero with no streak, 133 gold, flat, straight, simple. Then there's other people that can get some for assists and gold and things like that, but we're not going to go into assist gold too much because that again would make this even more complicated. So killing people is one way to get experience and gold. Okay, kill streaks. Now kill streaks are important because if you have more than 3 kills, you start getting a bounty. There's a kill streak multiplier for experience and a kill streak multiplier for gold. They could be relatively flat. The calculation is quite extensive, but it can be broken down into these numbers. You can see the kill streak XP calculator can be very interesting, but again, we brought it down, simplified it to these numbers right here. And that's what you need to know is the more somebody has a kill streak, the more that multiplier is, right? So if I were to kill, say, a level 12, and he's on a 5-person kill streak, that's 345 extra XP on top of killing a level 12 of 1,000 experience. So you get 1,000 experience for killing someone plus 345. So now if we make this into a 10 kill streak, now we're looking at a lot of experience. And the higher the levels, the crazier it gets because it's multiplicative based off of the levels that they're at, right? So keep in mind that when we're killing people on kill streaks, it's important to focus people once we start seeing those kill streaks come. And once we are on a kill streak, we want to be careful about feeding away the kill streak. I don't want you to feed away the kill streak. Okay? Creeps. This is going to be your #1 source of income, especially starting early, right? That's why you go to the lanes. You go to lanes to kill things, okay? One thing to note is the gold is more and the experience is more for the range creep. So you'll see that's why sometimes people prioritize the range creep. Especially if they're pushing a wave out, they'll just right click spam the range creep. Make sure they get the range creep because nothing else attacking the range creep. Might as well secure that 69 XP and that 48 gold, and then go to the melee creeps. And if I miss it, well, at least I still got 9 additional gold than I would, at least on average. And then experience, at least I got 12, which is flat. Now, the flag bearer is interesting. He has an aura. We can go into him a little bit more later, but one thing to keep in note is killing him gives in an AoE a bonus gold of 46. That bonus gold can be pretty important, especially for the support. So if you are a support and you see your carry going for that last hit in your range and there's a projectile time and just throwing it out there while they're going for the last hit, their melee, it's closer or whatever it may be, helping secure that last hit is pretty important because you're not necessarily sure you're taking that 57 XP. Well, actually, that gets split. But say you're taking that 37 gold, but you're also giving them 46, right? And if they were to miss it, you're both losing out on 46 gold plus that 37 that one of you two could have gotten. So just keep that in mind. Another thing to note about creeps is as we get to supers and megas, it actually decreases. You might not think about that, but that's actually because of the fact that getting supers and megas, not only are they buffier, but we don't want somebody to make a comeback. So making sure you get racks when you go up onto high ground, getting those barracks are important. You're denying them farm from the lane. It's stronger, so you're making them address them anyway, so they got to kill them, but they kill them for less than they would if they were to go somewhere else and get more farm. So getting those supers are very important by getting racks. And then getting megas, of course, is even more important. The numbers are pretty much the same. Megas are really just damage dealers is what you need to think of. So now we move into creeps. Neutral creeps, there's 3 camps, the small, the medium, the large, or the hard camp. And then we have the Ancients, Roshan, and Tormentor. Those are all the neutrals that exist in the game. You can see their names because of that. Names. Dang, merge and combine, right? Names are going to be on the side. The experience on average for the entire camp, stacked experience, stacker, experience, gold, average gold. This should be the stacker, average gold. Because they get less, okay? So, one thing that's new to 7.33, I believe, actually I think it's 7.34 that they added was the stacker always got extra XP. They added that earlier. I couldn't give you a patch note, but what they did add was the gold, or actually it might even be vice versa. Either way, what's important to know is that when you stack, you get 30% of each of those neutral kills, except keep in mind the golem camps, because summon units you don't get gold. So it's going to be the same when it comes to like troll camps when they're adding. See how the average gold for the stackers the same. See, there we go. But they get more. So that's because of the fact that if there is summoned units, you don't get the stacker XP or the stacker gold bonus. But nonetheless, stack. Please stack for your carries. You get gold. You get experience. It's so easy. 25 gold for dedicating 10 seconds of your life, right? I mean, it's your life, yeah, but 10 seconds of game time is very important, okay? And then it increases to 49. And this is per stack. So if I stack that Black Dragon with Ancient Golems, in 10 seconds, I got 50 gold, right? Now, if I stack the Centaur camp with the Satyrs, another 50 gold. This is 100 gold for stacking the Ancients. Stacking is easy money, easy experience. Do it, especially earlier. Like, you got nothing better to do in lane sometimes as the position 4, stacking Ancients. Honestly, you could double stack. You could stack Ancients and you could stack the hard camp or medium camp that's over there. So stack, okay? Again, if you guys want to reference this, I'm going to put it somewhere in the description for you guys. there's a couple extra things that you can see that are in this that can be pretty helpful. Like when you get your ultimates, when the... Oh, if I click something, no, I don't want to go look at the link. The talents and things like that. So there you are. Just a quick little rundown on experience and gold and how that can affect you. So let's go into creeps and equilibrium, right? So let's get into Dota. Let's create a custom lobby, okay? And we'll start it. You can join me in this as well. And honestly, I'd grab a hero that you probably want to get good at last hitting with. Right now, let's just say Spectre's good. We'll go Spectre. Grab some starting items. Let's skip ahead. Okay. So the equilibrium. It's in general gonna be a straight line, right down the diagonal. I'm not good at it. Gosh, I can't draw a diagonal for goodness sakes. But what a good thing to do for reference is gonna be here, right? I believe perfectly it's here, but you can use the this pathway as a signifier, right? But in perfection, I believe it's just between the two. Just between the two here, and then just between the two here, right? Okay. So just knowing those could be important. Just a heads up. So the equilibrium, it will actually sit and watch what happens. So why does the equilibrium matter, right? So equilibrium matters because of the fact that I want to be safe, right? I don't want the enemies to attack me. So the best way to stop an enemy from attacking me is to be by this thing called our tower, right? This tower gives me a bonus, an aura, right? Tower protection, armor of nearby friendly heroes increased, and then it also increases our regen, right? So 5.5, 4.5. So it gives you +1, plus 3 armor, right? So armor increased by 3 and health regen by 1. And then we can even go check over here real quick. I'm going to do this just because. Okay, so that's a big difference, right? 3 armor, or excuse me, 3 health regen, 5 armor increase. Okay, so keeping that in mind, knowing that the tower's safe, see, like I said, just about right here, is a safe zone means that they won't want to come over here. They do less damage to you, and you heal. So one things we do in the middle of the game is we want to balance our creep, right? So if I attack him once, I want to attack him once. See, they died about the same time. He's attacking me, and he's attacking him. So now, naturally, more things are going to be going this direction. Okay? So because of that, we need to keep our creep equilibrium the same. Okay? So now look, I have 2, 2. The health levels are not about the same. So to fix that, we can actually balance the creep equilibrium. There's a few ways that we could do this, right? We can balance it by attacking, but we can also balance it by tanking, right? So I'm tanking it here, and then now I moved it slightly to the right. And it's going to keep going because we have more creeps on our side, right? And we can see this as these range creeps are attacking, right? So now it's going to move. And the way that it moves is away from, obviously, the units that are here. So it's like, let's... So that's a significant move just for having something that people call double creep wave or double range creeps, okay? So these double range creeps do a lot of damage. Keeping them both alive will significantly push your lane. So much so that we're still pushing, right? I mean, of course, I'm doing a little bit of damage here and there, making it happen, but that's what pushes this into their tower. So now this is where I don't want to be, right? This tower hurts, 100 and some odd damage, 90 damage, sorry. It hurts. That's before, of course, reductions from armor and everything like that. So we want to, and if we can, stop it from going in there. So there's 2 ways that we can get a creep wave back. Well, 3 really. We could try to deny a crap ton, but the problem is I can't deny a creep that has more than 50% health. But what I can do is I can push it into the tower. Because now the tower's making this an uneven fight, right? See, so now it's 4-1. Okay? So this tower's now going to bring it back. And then they have less health. And we keep going and we help them. And we probably end up getting a deny. But then we sit here and we wait and we wait and we wait and we try to deny the crap out of these things, right? But I don't want to miss my last hit, so you got to keep that in mind too. And then here we go. So now here they are, time for them to push, okay? So because of that, they ended up getting a double range creep that we were talking about, okay? And here's that flag bearer aura that we were talking about. This is the flag bearer creep. They have an aura, inspiring allies, granting them bonus health regen. That increases your regen too. Look, I'm at 8.1. He's going to die. 5.1. So keeping him alive can be pretty useful depending on what it is. And then there's that bonus gold, 44. Cool. And now we're almost even, right? But we're not, because now they have triple range creep. It's like, crap, I really need to kill these things. So that's what we're going to do, right? I don't want it to push into my tower, because I want to keep it balanced. When it pushes into my tower, then we end up pushing, just like we showed above. Okay? So this is generally how to balance a wave. Now, I only showed you a few ways. I only showed you 2, right? Pushing and a crap ton of right clicking. Now we get into what's called a pull. This will help us with our creep equilibrium. If you followed my settings and got the boundary box here, you should see this timing. And it's really simple as knowing 46 or 16. This will slow you down, just a heads up. But then you pull, okay? So our creeps are getting over there. We got double range creep. So now what we're doing is we're delaying, right? We're delaying it so that these will die, hopefully. And then the enemy creeps will come towards us. Along with that, our creeps are taking damage, okay? So in general, you're never going to kill them with this small camp. They'll come return. But now what we have is we have a very weak amount of heroes. So now they're going up against half as many as they should, plus the new one. So it's going to be a little bit different, because then their creep wave is going to come in, etc. So now, are we looking at an even creep wave? No. And you might be like, why? We delayed everything and everything should have went our way. But what we did was we created this, the double range creep that we were talking about. So the pull temporarily brings it back, but in general, it's going to push it. And so you need to keep that in mind. The only way that you're really going to pull it all the way back is if we do something called a double camp or stacked camp pull. Okay? So we could do it again, but that would waste our time. But what we can do, I can demonstrate, is hard camp pull. So we can do a hard camp pull. And what's really nice about doing a hard camp pull is if you do it at the 53-second mark, you'll actually get, you'll actually stack the camp as well. So as you can see, we only got 2 of them. So this is a half pull, and that might be a good idea for over there, right? That small camp, if we can do a half pull. Now we aren't really, these things are probably going to die, to include our range creep, which is the one that deals that damage. And then now here we go. Okay, so I have these, and their creep waves now pushing a little bit. Why? Because of the double range. So we get rid of this double range. And now we've kind of balanced the lane out just a tad. Not exactly where we want to be. And so if you're ever in a point where you're like, oh man, I am so close, but not perfect, right? We can right click. And what we can do is we can take the wave for a little bit, and then we can get back into it, right? So now, almost even again. and we get here and we try to start evening out that wave. So I encourage you to try and keep a wave even in a custom match like this, right? So you can see it's not easy. Now add extra pressure, right? There's going to be enemies. I want to make sure I get last hits. I don't want the doubles, right? So those are all the things that you got to keep in mind when balancing a wave, right? And the goal is to keep it close to your tower. And you could do this on both sides of the map, right? Now, if I wanted to practice being over here, we could. And we could pull separately from different locations. And that kind of segues me to actually demonstrating kind of what to do on the other side, right? So we get to the beginning of the game, and we are going to start here. So the goal can be pretty simple of, I want to push this wave, and the answer might be why. Well, pushing eventually turns into pulling because of the fact that we were talking about how they take so much damage here, right? Damage, 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 and we're even doing tower damage. And then now these ones are in the tower, and they're just taking more damage, more damage, more damage. And eventually we're going to now have it come all the way back to us.
Your middle tower is under attack.
At our base. Well, roughly our base, right? Obviously not. So we're going to bring it probably maybe here, a little bit less. And ta-da. Now this is a lot safer, right? I'm so much closer to my tower. Okay? And I still wanted to come back, right? I'm like, ooh, it's almost to my perfect balance, right? And then if I'm like, oh no, I did too many, which honestly I'll make it so that I did, which I kind of did. We're going to get a last hit, which we got to keep in mind. I might take this range creep out while I can. And then boom, I just stay here and I tank the wave a little bit. Obviously I'm level 7 by now, we're 10 minutes into the game. But you can tank the creep wave just a tad bit, just like we were showing in the other one. And so getting into a game and practicing your creep equilibrium can be something that you could do early on. And we can also think about what are called pulls, right? So here's the pull. Sorry, I know the timing is roughly the same. So we're going to go over here. It's about 20 seconds. And then we can pull them. And then they didn't come. Why not? Well, because of the fact that it has to do with aggro, which is definitely a complicated story. But what happens is they get mad when you're getting attacked. So because they're already busy, there's aggro priorities, and they just don't care. But now, if this creep wave was all the way up here, it could be useful. So let's go ahead and let's push this creep wave. And I can demonstrate. All right. So we know that's going to pull or push, right? It's somewhere unfavorable. Honestly, we're unfamiliar if whether or not that's actually going to end up being beneficial for us. So we come over here and we make the pull. Okay. The reason why I try and only pull the back guy is because of the fact that we don't want to do it too much. We don't want to pull it so much that it pushes, kind of like how I showed you guys in that first example, right? So this will make it so that we have a lot less damage in lane. And now we're golden. And if I have to, I could do it again. But honestly, look, they're probably right here. And now they're meeting a lot closer. They're a lot weaker. So they're going to have this join them, which is perfect. And so now we are a lot weaker, right? Because 3 plus the 2 that we're still here, plus the extra range creep, pushes quite a bit. So all we had to do was do a tiny bit of pull, plus the fact that there was, and I won't forget to mention, is the fact that we also pushed it into their tower. So you get into a game and you can practice equilibrium, practice last hits because last hits equal gold, and gold equals items, right? So that's all when it comes to creep and gold, or sorry, creeps and equilibrium, right? So there's the similar thing in mid, and we could go over it, but in general, it's going to be about the same. Mid is its own beast, and we can definitely go into that when we talk about cores and supports. But I do want to go over that, and then now we're going to go into space and map control. All right. Space and map control. Here we go. All right. So we're looking at two sides of the map, right? We have the Radiant and the Dire. Radiant's going to be green and yellow, and that Dire's going to be red, orange, and, well, red. While Dire's going to be blue and yellow. So these are our main camps, in a sense, right? We have the triangle that we talked about, which have our ancients, a hard camp, and then we have our ancients over here, Tormentor. Just a quick review of the map, and then this is our actual main jungle, and then we have the side jungle, or behind our tower jungle is what some people call them, and then it'll be reflected on the other side. So we're talking about space and map control. So right now the map is even, the creep waves are even. Okay, so now we are getting to a point where people are starting to lose towers, okay? So what happens when we lose a tower? Well, when each side loses a tower, they lose security, right? We were talking about how we wanted to go back to that tower to be safe. So as we lose towers, we lose space, which is important, okay? So space can be regained, though, and there's a few different ways to do it. And depending on which tower you lose different types of space, right? So if we were to lose this tower, we could potentially lose some of this space. But to lose space, people have to take space. But in general, what we do is we give space to other people as well, right? So because I don't have any vision over here, and I know that they've been over here recently, we're giving them space. We're staying safe. We're going to be in this jungle is our safe space, obviously underneath our towers, and then over here. Now, you can have space be because of teammates, okay? So here's another example. If we were to lose the tier 1 tower up on here, and then we have a lot of less space, right? So how do we gain space back? So that brings us to this, right? So I have green and I have orange highlighted. And the question is, what can we do to get these spots back, right? I want this space back. Well, there's occupying, right? So I can put heroes there, right? Not just myself, because by myself, I'm very weak, right? But if I put more people there, I gain space, right? So if us as a team come over here and we start occupying over here, pushing towers, now I've gained more space here because of the fact that now I have my team who's helpful, right? My team is similar to a tower. They can help me be safe. They can generate space. Additionally, we can use vision. Vision makes you feel safe, and it can show you whether or not somebody's there, right? So if an enemy isn't there, they can't take the space. This is just unknown space up until the fact that we get a ward here. Now, if we get a ward here, effectively, we've partially gained that space back. Now, are we taking the space? Not unless we're there. But we have the space available to us, and we have the information available to us by getting vision. Now, does that ward have to be right in the middle of the jungle? No. Honestly, you probably want it closer to the enemy so you know when they're coming, right? I'll occupy this space, and I'll have vision to make it so that I'm safe. So now I've created a safe space by gaining it and occupying that space, okay? So same thing over here. Now, if I want to gain some space over onto the other side of the map, I can take space, right? So now we put some heroes here. We start taking some towers. Now I have all this space available, okay? So if I have if we're in the mid game right after the laning stage, and I have my off lane, my mid, my supports pressuring this tier 2 tower, I can be available and close by taking their space, right? I can farm our ancients, over here's Radiant, and then I can move into their jungle, farm their jungle as they're slowly moving up, right? So they move up, I move up, and then now a fight happens. Now we can engage, right? So now we've created this space. So that's how you get space back, okay? So now the question is, how do you make space, right? So we've lost towers in quite a different amount of places, right? It looks bad. So we were talking about occupying, right? So taking towers is one of the best ways to make space. But only taking towers doesn't just give you the map, right? Just because somewhere isn't safe doesn't mean that it's going to be easy for you to be able to be safe in a location. The next thing we start looking at are those creep waves. Creep waves give vision, and they're needed to push, right? So if I push these creep waves all the way over here, they're not going to be able to take this space for a couple reasons. One, they're going to have they're going to be between our tower and us, right? Because we have our creep waves up here. So that means I can get to them easily. I have additional vision. I can see more things. Now, if we were to push our lane out, if we were, say, the Dire, if we were to push the lane out, this could be a whole different story. Of course, I didn't make that map. This could be a whole different story. What we could do is if we pushed our lane out, we go back to this, right? I push that lane out. I occupy this space now. Now as Dire, I push this out. Sure, we don't have this tower, for example, as you can see. But now we've gotten this space back. We push the creep waves out. Our team's here. I gain this space back. Okay? So that's how I create space. So you can see by just bringing down towers, we can create space. And you might be like, okay, so what is this spot for, right? So that is unoccupied space. It's like, I don't know yet, right? Because there's creeps here that we probably want to do. But if we're over here, my safest location is going to be, hey, I have a tower here. There's creeps here. If I need to farm, if I need to get gold, this is safe, right? Obviously, being by my tower up here is safe. Always in your, I wouldn't say always on your own high ground safe, but it's pretty dang sure bet that you're going to be safe inside your own base. So you're like, this is really safe. This is not so safe. And similarly, I don't want to be over here either, especially depending on where that creep wave is, right? Because one thing to keep in mind is boots of travel is a thing. People can teleport to creeps. And if we don't see people, that poses problems, okay? And so when you go to take your space back, you want to keep in mind a couple things, right? We were talking about vision, and we were talking about creep waves, and we were talking about where our heroes are, right? So we can gain space back by just showing presence in a location, or potentially not showing presence, right? If nobody sees me at all, that's scary, right? If I'm over here and I'm farming safely, like I feel safe over here, but for some reason I don't see anybody showing on my minimap, no enemies are showing on my minimap, and my team's not near me, that's scary, right? Because that means they might be coming for me. So even then, my space shrinks. Then I start getting into this mentality that we have up here, right? I was farming over here decently. I was maybe even farming over here, but everybody disappeared. Now it's like, I don't want to be out here, right? I don't see a lot of the map. So maybe I want to start moving into somewhere a bit safe. So I hope that makes sense. And that's kind of the basics of space. And it can be very confusing. And I could have confused you more. But I want you to keep in mind a few things when it comes to space. It's going to be where are people? Where are the creep waves? And what can I retreat to that makes me safe, right? So if I can retreat to my teammates, that means we're occupying that space, right? That means I'm safe, right? If I have that creep wave there pushing them that they have to go through to make sure they get to a tower that I can retreat to, I'm pretty safe. Now, if there's more than one hero, of course, they can overwhelmingly break those odds just by throwing bodies, right? Hey, you tank the tower. No, I tank the tower. And then they just keep going, right? Eventually, you're not going to be safe anywhere on the map if it's 5v1, right? We got to keep that in mind. And that's why nobody on the map can be scary, right? 5v1. Okay, if I don't see anybody on the map, I'm assuming there's 5 of them. But most of the time, it's honestly going to be 4 and 1. But you want to keep 4 is still just as bad, right? So, creep waves. Where are the creep waves? How can they help me? Where's the nearest thing that can keep me safe? My team, my towers. Okay. And then lastly is vision, right? Vision keeps you safe. And that's why warding is so important. Okay. So now we've finished space. Ooh. Okay. Now let's go and take a quick look back at... Come on. Go to slide 4. Next is going to be our timings. And then we're going to go into trading tools. Okay. Timing. All right. Let's create this lobby. We could demonstrate some things. I showed you the creep pull a little bit already. But what we want to do is we'll probably be a ranged support. Let's grab Lion. He's simple, honestly. Picked Lena. Don't know why. But she's just fine as well. Okay. Go into the game.
Watch it. I'm hot.
And
I go like the blazes.
we are going to get into the game. Okay. 0 minutes. Okay. You start about minus 120, 130, if I'm correct. The game starts and everybody's like, what do I do? Well, your goal is to get as many of these bounty runes as possible. So there's 0 minute bounty runes. It's 0 minutes. There's 4 bounty runes that can spawn. 1 at the enemy. 1 on this side of the river. 1 on the other. And then 1 at the Radiant. So we have a whole minute to figure out how the hell we can plan to kill these things, right? Some people smoke. Some people just group up. Some people get vision like this so they can see if someone's over here. Some people will loop around. So there's so many ways that you could potentially get these runes and also potentially kill your enemy. And so that's why you got to be careful. Okay. So these 0 minute bounty runes are going to spawn at all 4 locations. Okay. 10 seconds. The horn goes off. It's nighttime until 0 minutes.
The battle begins.
And then we have a bounty rune that comes up. Okay. Bounty runes are worth 40 each. And we'll just go grab them all. Okay. So as we walk, I want you to keep in mind that we have more than just bounty runes in the game. Okay. So we have these bounty runes. And then they increase as the game goes. But then we have what are called the river runes. Okay. So the bounty 0 minute bounty runes are all 4 locations. Now at 2 minutes and 4 minutes, there's something called the water rune that spawns in the river. There's 2 that spawn each 2 minutes. 1 at each side of the river at the 2 minute mark and the 4 minute mark. Guaranteed top and bottom. After that, we get to the power runes.
Burn a path.
Okay. And one thing that I wanted you to see in the background real quick is the fact that at 1 minute,
Oh yeah.
creeps spawn. Okay, and that's the point of. That's the whole point of stacking these creeps. Is every minute creeps spawn. Okay, and so that's one of the reasons why you'll see people stack. Right, you can move them out of this box, and at that 0 minute mark, or 0 second mark of each minute, they will respawn, and then that's what's called stacking camps. Now, you can see me pull, which I did, which is about every 16 seconds after the 30-second mark. So 16 seconds, and then it'd be 46 seconds. And then here we're seeing the stack timing is going to generally be about 53 seconds for almost every
I'm
camp.
going.
So you can pull solo camps, and there's a few that you can pull double.
Heat wave.
It's pretty tough to get the radiant side, but it's definitely easier on the dire in my opinion. But you can actually stack both of these, okay? And you can see that one is just a slightly ahead of the other. So it's like 35, it's like 33, 33, 32, 32, 31, 30, etc. So because of that, we can take advantage of this if we're a ranged hero, right? Just at about that exact second that it's done, we want to be clicking this camp. We can do that with either our ability or our right click. Keep in mind, things that take damage from abilities will generally move out and try and find you because, like we said in the vision, if something's getting attacked by you, it gets vision of you.
Like
Okay.
wildfire.
Boom. We stack this one, and you'll hear that noise for it. And then we stack this one as well. So there's two of them. Okay. And then here we can see that the water rune at 2 minutes spawned already. We can go pick that up, and then we'll see that at 4 minutes it'll spawn here as well. On the mini map, when things spawn, you'll see little icons.
I go like the blazes.
As you can see, there's little icons where the bounty runes spawn. Why? Because they spawn at 3 minutes. So you can see that there's already been so many things that have happened just in the first 3 minutes and 40 seconds of this game. And
Your middle tower is under
all
attack.
we've done is walk around, right? So the game progresses quickly. We're gonna demonstrate this double stack real quick. Attack, attack. We move out of the way, and now we've gotten the double stack for the radiant. And here we are, 4 minute rune. This came out. So we'll review. 0 minute, bounty rune spawns at all 4. 2 minutes, water rune spawns. And 4 minutes, the water rune spawns. Not always here, but always here and here. Both locations. Okay? Now at the 6 minute rune, the power runes come, and that's why it's telling you that time frame. 90 seconds till the power runes come. Okay?
Yes.
Here we are. We got the bounty rune at 30 seconds. Sorry, 3 minutes. And the next question is, how do we do this pull? Okay, or this stack, I mean. So, again, the stack timings are shown if you put the boxes on, I believe. So we're going to do 3, 2, 1. Then we'll do it over here. And then you move out of the way. You don't want anything in these boxes. That's the whole point, right?
I go like the blazes.
Here we go, showing this timing. 5 o'clock. The
Burn a
nighttime has come around. Okay, so there's another timing that you gotta know. You gotta know every 5 minutes that
Oh,
the
yeah.
night is coming. And the reason why you want to know that is because of the fact that nighttime we have reduced visibility depending on who you are. So
Fired up.
I'm sure if you've played this game before, you've already been screaming around the 3 minute mark saying, Fox, you forgot something. And what is that? That's the lotuses. Okay, I didn't want to overwhelm you guys. But the lotus spawns at 3 minutes as well. Every 3 minutes. This is pretty much free regeneration.
Tower is under attack.
125 health and mana. A freaking salve, I think, is 210, right? consumable. Where are you, Salve? 30 seconds. 30 health for 30 seconds. It's not even instant, right? Here's that 6-minute game. We can grab it. Problem is it's 1 second channel. So keeping that in mind, it's something to think about. So now that I've shown you those,
Warmer.
you can use them immediately, and it's like free gold, right? The Fire Fury gives you 85 health. This gives you 125. It's even better than a Fire Fury at 65. So you're getting like free 200 gold just for grabbing something, right?
Your middle tower is under attack.
So knowing that, it's good to know. The next thing to know is the 7-minute rune. You're like, God, there's so many runes. You're not wrong. Dota loves runes, I guess. And they always want you to be looking for one at almost every single minute, it seems like. So 7 minutes, the wisdom rune comes up. So this grants bonus XP to the hero that activates it, as well as the lowest level hero on the team. It used to not be that way, but it is really good. So I get 280, and then another hero gets experience as well, the lowest, which would again be me. And if that's the case, you do get both of them. So grabbing that 7-minute rune is quite important. And what some people will even do is they'll go and grab the enemy rune, right?
Bottom tower
There's
is
the
under
secret
attack.
pathway that can get you there. Okay, there's other ways to get there, right? We can teleport to our own side, right? Because we can teleport to our nearby buildings.
Your
If you
bottom
have an
tower is
ability
under
that can get
attack.
you over to the enemy side, by all means, you can do that as well. So knowing how to do that can be pretty important.
Burn a path.
So we aren't going to go into pulls and stacks and things too much because this isn't the support
Flame burns bright.
the support series, right? This is the basic mechanic series. And that's really all you got to do, right? So the question is, how do you train this? Hop in a custom game. It's that simple. You just saw me spend 8 minutes just wandering around, grabbing things. And what you could do is practice that, right? It's like, oh, I'm going to practice my pull. Okay, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to practice my stack. Huh. The 2-minute rune has pretty much spawned. That's weird. After the 2-minute rune,
Burn a path.
maybe I can do a pull or a stack, and then I can go get the 3-minute rune. Okay. After 3-minute rune, maybe I should do another stack, and then I should go
Your bottom tower
get the
is
next
under
rune.
attack.
I go like the blazes.
Okay, now I'm at 5 minutes. Huh, where should I go? Well, maybe I go somewhere like the other one. Maybe I should stack, get the 6-minute rune, right? So there's so many things that you can practice just by being in the custom game lobby. Okay, so now under the Learn tab, there is an option for demoing a hero, and then I believe there is one for practicing last hits. Okay, let's find that one. And you can also do some of these too, right? Pulling creeps, stacking creeps, and last hitting. So in the last hitting, there's a scenario. Sorry, these headphones will make me itchy. We'll go into this.
Choose your hero. 30 seconds to battle.
Cool. Get last hits and denies to raise your score. 100 points per last hit, 50 points per deny. Each round lasts 3 minutes. God diamond. So, you can't even upgrade your abilities in this. It really is just right click. Okay. So I know that sometimes creeps can be at the same time that I don't want them to be. So then I get that. And then, right? People die at the same time. And so the question is, how do I want to stop that so I can get a last hit and a deny, right? You can sit here and you can play with it. And you can try to get better and things like that. So that's one way to practice. And, I mean, I by no means am good, but getting in there and getting the practice can get you better at last hitting. Obviously, I'm better than some people because I am where I am, but you just got to practice these things. Okay, so there's 2 minutes of our lives practicing. Take 10 minutes doing it for you. But what you can go in here is go in here and search training polygon. We can go down this, and then we can go ahead and play training polygon. In training polygon, we can practice a few things. Last hits, which again is important, but there's even more things that you can do. And I implore you to look over them, right? Armlet toggle, training glimpse evasion, training of abilities timing. And you can read over these and things like that. Depending on what you do. Invoker training can be useful if you like to play Invoker. Combos, things like that. Skill shots. There's so many things that you can practice. But I personally like to use the last hit training. You go in there, you pick whoever you want, and then you click whether or not you want a sniper bot, which he has decent reaction time, but I've done decent against him as well. You pick your normal items. In general, what you're gonna want is, if you're melee, a quelling blade, 2 iron branches, and then the rest is normally gonna be either a circlet, or you would end up going magic stick. But circlet and stickers. This is pretty much what you're gonna do, and then you're gonna have tangos here. That's generally gonna be for all agility heroes. And then if it's a strength hero, you'll end up not with a bracer, sorry. You'll end up with gauntlets. And then if you are intelligence, a mantle of intelligence. And that's how you can practice your last hits. Just throw those in there, and that's all you need. If you're not melee, you can get rid of that, and then some people will finish their finish, can you? You can't even finish it off by 5. You normally would get enough gold that you just call your Wraith Band into the in. But just start with that and you'll be just fine. You can change what side you're on, but nothing too special. And that's how you train Dota. So here we are, 52 minutes later. Again, our second video, our second longest video. And I thank you guys for sticking through it with me, because there was a lot of information and I appreciate it. And again, we are almost done with the video. So with that comes the fact that we need to ask you guys to go to more, sorry, not go to more, what's it called? Watch more of our videos, right? So if you haven't already seen 101, probably going to be up here. If I can figure out how to do it. Still, I mean, I haven't even started editing, guys. This is video 2. And then up here could be what YouTube suggests, or probably, well, my guess is 103.